To the new showcase of the day. As you see, we've changed the setup a little bit, so you'll be seeing me and the guys playing at the same time. So actually, let me move this over here so you get a better view. So we're very happy to showcase actually our release from last year, Fuji Koro, that is still very much available in stores right now. And we wanted to showcase a little bit of the cooperative version of this game. Because the very unique thing about Fuji Koro is that you can actually play it both in a competitive mode, but you can also play it in a cooperative mode, what the guys are doing right now. So in this version of the game, players are basically going to try to basically successfully end up a number of objectives. So the principle of the game, though, in both versions is kind of the same. Every player has a number of actions available to them, and you perform 2 actions every turn. Now, if you look at the player boards that both players have, they have a number of these yellow action discs that I'm going to pinpoint right there. There you go. And so these action discs are placed on one of 3 actions. The first action would actually be to explore. So you actually, because you're inside this giant volcano that is about to burst, and you're going to try and basically place tiles around the starting tile. So you see in the very middle of the game what Sebastian's doing right now is adding one of these tiles, and then you choose the orientation of the tile, and then there's a whole bunch of icons on these tiles where certain tags are going to appear. So a dragon can appear, like in this case. There's actually a dragon available. So in this case, a blue dragon will appear, you randomly choose one and you place it on the tile, and then there are a whole bunch of other things that can appear as well. One of the main things that you try and collect in the game are resources. There's wood and there is metal, which is the most common resources you're going to find, and then you're going to use these resource cubes and you're going to place them actually on a grid. So actually, let me see if I can find a player. No, there's not another playboard, but so when you have I'm going to, you place those cubes on grids that basically symbolize your equipment. You have a helmet that will be important in battle to protect yourself. Then you have your weapon, which obviously is going to be used to attack. And then you also have sandals. Sandals are necessary also to either speed up your movement, or you also sometimes need it later on in the game if you want to try and jump over lava, because, well, we're inside a volcano, so obviously lava is one of the key elements in the game. You'll see actually as the game progresses that more and more tiles are being placed, but also there comes a key point in the game where an event is triggered, and from then on there is a number of turns that will happen, and in every turn lava will rise and rise and rise, meaning that the whole board will start to get overrun by lava, and movement will become very, very complicated. So what the players are trying to achieve now is that they have to try to get to those temples that you see. So there's 3 temples around the board, and these contain magical types of blueprints for weapons, helmets, and sandals. So players will, each of them will have to try and get those types of equipment, but also somewhere in the game there are 2 specific tiles that you're going to be looking for. One is one that contains the legendary dragon, because there's 3 types of dragons in the game that we've awakened because, because the dragons have shown up. And then what happens there is that the dragons obviously, well, are going to move in this version of the game. If you play the competitive version, dragons will kind of be nice and stay where they are until you attack them. Yes or no, that is kind of your choice. And this is what's happening now. So Rudy's actually trying to attack the blue dragon, and he managed to actually defeat it. So the nice thing about that is when a dragon is defeated, the tile becomes available to players, and they can go and collect certain things, and they can move further inside the volcano. But the dragons become more and more tough the deeper you go inside the volcano. So you'll end up meeting green dragons and red dragons even. Red dragons being really, really tough to beat. But then there's also the white dragon, which is that big legendary dragon. Actually, Rudy, can you pass me the white dragon for a second? Right there. So I'm just going to show it to you guys right here. See, it's kind of the magic that's happening. So this white dragon is the most powerful dragon by far in the entire game. And in the cooperative version that is being played right here, you're going to have to try and find that white dragon and beat him. That is one of the main conditions in order to win the cooperative version. And then somewhere inside the volcano as well, there is a secret escape route. So there is a specific tile that contains like a rope that will actually lead you outside of the volcano, and everybody has to escape through that exit before the end of the game. So the cool thing about this cooperative version is that there is a lot more pressure from the dragons, because in the cooperative version you are going to try and fight dragons and you can work together as well. In the end, you kind of have to. Even if you play the competitive version of the game, you really want to collaborate, because the tougher dragons, like the green ones and especially the red ones, let alone the white one, really need at least 2 players. So you're going to have to do like a joint effort in order to try and beat these, yes or no. However, in the competitive and cooperative version, as I mentioned, the dragons will start chasing you. And one thing that is unique to this version is that every player has a limited amount of lives. Everybody starts the game with 2 lives, and when you get beaten by a dragon, you lose one of those lives. If you lose your last life, you're out of the game, and if somebody dies in this game, it's game over. So it's actually... it's quite the challenge to play the cooperative version, but it's all the more challenging. I always recommend to always play the competitive version first, so you get the hang of all the rules in the game, and then move on to the cooperative version. But yeah, both are actually really, really fun. So a little bit more about combat though, because that is something that I haven't quite explained, and I have to delve into that, because you see a number of different things in the game as well. You see there's a whole collection of dice right here, so I'm going to grab a few of these. So whenever you're going to try and attack actually a dragon, or in the competitive version you can actually attack the other players, you're always going to see at the number of cubes that you have in your weapon. So the number, you'll have a number of wooden cubes and a number of silvery cubes, which symbolize the metal. And for each of those cubes, you potentially can take one of these dice, and you're going to roll them. However, these can actually break as well, so your weapon will get damaged during combat. That is one of the risks that you're taking. So you can always choose how many of those, like you look at the amount of dice that you can technically use, and then you can roll these dice. And then the wooden dice will give you, let me zoom in a little bit, will give you up to 1 damage, like this. You'll see a little star like this. The silvery ones will give you up to 2 damage, but then there's also special dice, because as you fight the dragons, you will also collect dragon teeth. So these are kind of almost like this ivory-like material, I want to say, that they have, and so you'll even be able to use these dice, which give you up to 3 damage as well. The nice thing is that whenever you fight against a dragon, they can actually break their teeth on your helmet, and when that happens, they basically chip a part of their tooth, and that's how you get these extra dice as well, which is really cool. And then eventually, because there is one final die, which is a very special one, which is this green die. It's this translucent die, actually. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you should be able to see it now. So this is actually used when your equipment becomes magical. And so, as I mentioned, the 3 temples that you see on the board contain blueprints to create magical weapons, magical helmets, and magical sandals even, which will unlock special abilities. So the helmets will be very, very tough to actually damage. The weapons will become quite a bit stronger, and the sandals will definitely help you at the end of the game to potentially cross lava. And so when you have a weapon that's magical, so long as the weapon still looks like it should according to the blueprint, you can use that magical die in combat, and it will guarantee you success, which is really nice and gives up to 4 damage. There you go. So that is kind of Fuji Koro in a nutshell. Also know that when you play the game, so I've already mentioned there's 2 main modes of play, cooperative and competitive, but there's also a whole bunch of scenarios in the game that you can use as well. There are special scenarios for the solo play, because yes, you can play the game with 1 player up to 6 actually. There's special scenarios for the cooperative version and special scenarios for the competitive version as well. So there's many, many ways to actually play Fuji Koro. But yeah, if you want to find out more, make sure to check our website, and also obviously YouTube. There's many reviews out there to be found about the game. Another thing now, while the guys continue playing, so yesterday we actually had a little giveaway. So every day we organize a giveaway, and yesterday there was a copy of Paris to be won. So we looked at all your posts. We have to say that we really appreciate everything that you sent us. There were very creative pictures and videos even made to share, but we have one winner, and the winner is Susanne van Leeuwen. So Suzanne, congratulations with your win. You've gotten a copy of Paris, so we will contact you to ask for your details, and we'll be sending that to you very, very soon. And today we have yet another giveaway. So as you can guess, we actually have one copy of Fuji Koro to give away today. So the principle is the same as yesterday. If you want to win a copy of the game, what you have to do is share a picture of you and your friends playing one of our games. It can be a physical copy of our games. It can also be a virtual copy if you are on Tabletopia, for instance. And what you have to do is share it either on Facebook, on Twitter, or on Instagram, your platform of your choice. But make sure to actually tag us. So you have to tag Game Brewer on the appropriate platform, and you will have to use a number of hashtags. Now we're making it a bit more challenging. We have 3 hashtags we want you to use. So use all 3, because the more hashtags you use correctly, the more chances you have to actually win the game. The first hashtag is Game Brewer Spiel. So hashtag Game Brewer Spiel, Spiel being SPIEL. Then the second hashtag is simply Spiel Digital, the main hashtag of the Spiel Digital event. And then the final hashtag is We Barbecue Dragons. You can spell barbecue how you want, but We Barbecue Dragons. So hashtag Game Brewer Spiel, hashtag Spiel Digital, and hashtag We Barbecue Dragons. So we wish you obviously the best of luck with this. We hope to see another set of very creative endeavors. And now we're going to move on to the third part, and probably my colleagues' favorite part of the whole showcase, the beer tasting. So as you know, we actually are trying a number of beers this week, and we're giving our opinion as to which one is the best for the day. So I'm actually going to leave the comments to my colleagues, and they can present the beers today.
So we use that camera?
Yes, I'm going to be using this one. I'll raise it up a little bit so that you're both in frame. It's a bit fishy-eyed, but yes.
So we chose to nominate 2 beers that are very alike today. Those are 2 Belgian dark ales.
Yep.
Actually, this one is a Trappist again, like yesterday. But yeah, they are very much alike because their taste should be something woody and a little bit of vanilla and chocolate. And I must say this one is
very good.
Clearly.
Extremely
So we started with the Chimay Père Trappiste, Grande Reserve,
Wow.
Fermenté en barrique.
Yeah.
Which sounds lovely and is lovely.
Do you know what it means, actually?
Yeah, more or less.
It's fermented in barrels,
kept in
basically.
barrels.
Yeah, it's fermented in the barrels, yeah.
No,
So that means that you really taste the oak, for instance.
Yeah.
And the second one is Gouden Carolus Cuvée van de Keizer whiskey infused. Actually, Gouden Carolus has its own whiskey made from malt that comes from the barrels where they brew the beer in triple.
Yeah. Wow.
And they reuse that malt to make their whiskey.
Damn.
And then they use that whiskey to infuse it in this beer.
It's the circle of life. It's
absolutely.
Amazing.
So I'm very curious about this one as well.
About how this tastes.
And
Great.
as you can see, we opted for big bottles today because we're playing a cooperative game, so we're also cooperating to empty the bottles. So
Very good. Yeah, exactly. Yes, as you know, in Belgium, we actually encourage drinking during working hours. So perfect. It's actually, not very many people know that, but it is a law in our country.
Spiel is a feast. We should.
Yes,
celebrate.
exactly. We have to make sure and celebrate. We wish we could be sharing our beers with you guys, but hopefully next year. All right, excellent.
Cheers.
So cheers to everyone. We will be tuning in again tomorrow. And tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, it will be Panjun with Google, right, being playtested. Yes,
absolutely.
Which is the other big release for 2020 for us. So Google got an expansion with 4 different modules. So we'll be showcasing these modules and obviously, trying more beers and everything. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Don't forget to check, obviously, our booth on the Spiel Digital website, because we have a lot of events coming up. We will be having actually interviews tonight with, we actually have the illustrator of Fuji Koro, Miguel Coimbra, that will be joining us, and we'll also have the author of Gugong, Andrea Steding, that will be joining us. So those interviews are at 7 and 8, and throughout the day we have a whole bunch of open tables. So if you want to test our games on Tabletopia, want some explanation, don't forget to tune in. Have a good one.